For more on the Fed's future moves, I want to welcome into the program Patrick Harker, president of the Philadelphia Federal Reserve. President Harker, thanks so much for joining me. It's great to have
Jennifer,
you.
great to be here.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
So we heard from Fed Chair Powell. He says the time has come to adjust policy. You're going 25 basis points cut in September?
We're starting a process. We will let the data dictate 25 or 50, but the process in my mind is more important than the actual number. Now, why do I think that? So I've been out in my district a lot this summer, talking to business leaders, bankers, community leaders, and the one thing I heard is be methodical, right? It was hard for us when you took them up very fast. We understand why you did it, but that was hard for us to absorb. When you start this process of cutting, do it in a methodical way to give us time to absorb it. And they care less, honestly, whether it's 25 or 50. It's the process, just getting it moving in the right direction. And I think the right direction is clearly down.
And so what does that look like? Are you going every meeting? Are you going every other meeting? What does the policy path look like?
It really depends on what the data, there are still risks out there in the economy. So we need to be cognizant of those risks. But in this case, I think starting with 25 makes a lot of sense to me. And we'll just see how this plays out.
What would put a 50 basis point rate cut on the table for you? Is it another weak jobs report? Is it more than that?
Not just a weak jobs report, but weak job data. I am firmly in the camp of not looking at any one number, because we know these numbers can be revised, and you have to look at all the data, claims data, job-to-job transitions data, the soft data we're hearing from employers throughout our district and throughout the country. Right now, things have clearly softened in the labor market, but they're still strong. I mean, the average that we've had over 170,000 jobs over 12 months, even with the revision. Go back to 2019 and think about what that number meant back in 2019. Very good number. So we need to look at all that data. And again, if we saw a substantial change in the labor market to the downside, then I would be open to a larger cut, but not right now.
And that would probably increase the pace of cuts, right?
Yeah, it probably would. But right now, that's not in my forecast.
On the job market, though, we have seen the unemployment rate jump up by 0.5 percentage point from its low over the past year. Granted, it's been up a lot because a lot of people are joining the labor force.
That's right.
Nevertheless, historically, when we have seen such a move, the unemployment rate has jumped a lot higher and the economy has entered recession. So can the unemployment rate continue to go up without a recession?
I hate to keep using the word unprecedented, right? But it's true. Where we are right now, we can look at history as some guide, but it's not the guide. And right now, what we're seeing, you think about what we went through. We've done a lot of catch up in the labor market. You think about government employment. A lot of people have joined the government. But in terms of a percent of overall labor market, it's back to around 15%, where it was before the pandemic hit. So we've done a lot of catch up. And there's some catch up to do still in areas like healthcare. We're seeing, it's still a lot of openings in healthcare. But I'm not that concerned right now that the labor market is in some way in trouble. I don't see that at all. I think we still have a very robust labor market.
What's your view on immigration when it comes to boosting labor supply in the labor market as well as U.S. productivity?
No, I mean, it's added clearly to the labor market, to, as you said, to unemployment. But those people we know are getting employed in various ways. So no, it's clearly added to the labor market. It's one of the reasons we've been able to come out of the bad situation we were in so quickly, relative to many other parts of the world.
In the Fed minutes, it was clear that several officials thought the case could have been made for a rate cut in July. Were you of that mindset? There's some who say that perhaps the Fed is a little bit behind the curve. What's your sense?
I don't think we're behind the curve, because again, it's about process, not particular numbers. Look at the longer end of the curve. Look at the 10-year, the 30-year. It's already moving in the direction we want it to move in. And so I don't think we're behind the curve at all, no.
You're looking to cut rates for the first time in 4 years.
Right.
As you look back, what lessons have you taken on the dynamics of inflation as well as the job market?
Yeah, I can only speak for myself, but the one thing I've learned, we early on started to think that inflation wasn't as transitory as many others thought. And we started to see that. And how did we start to see that? In the soft data that we were getting. The hard data was still not showing the problem that we eventually had to deal with. But the soft data we're starting to hear from our contacts through surveys, but just conversations, started to say, look, it's worse than you guys think. The lesson I learned is to take that soft data more seriously than I did. I always took it seriously, but I think particularly in an era where the data, particularly survey data, is difficult, as we know, because people aren't responding to the surveys, we need a host of different data sources to paint a picture. And so that's the lesson I learned, is to pay more attention to that soft data. And what I'm clearly hearing now, and I've heard now for a while, is that we need to start bringing rates down in this slow, methodical way.
Fed Chair Powell has been fervent about the need for central bank independence to make policy decisions that best serve the economy without political intervention. Former President Trump has said he thinks that the president should have a say in setting monetary policy. He's kind of backtracked a little bit from that this week, but your response to that?
Fed independence is crucial. All you have to do is look through history. You can look through American history, look through what's happening in some countries in the world today to see examples of when that independence, that wall of independence is breached. Bad things can happen. So I am adamantly in the camp to maintain the independence of the Federal Reserve.
Before I let you go, President Harker, you say the path is down now. What's your sense of the economic outlook? Is the soft landing in place?
I think the soft landing is most probable. You can never guarantee anything, right? But I think right now things look pretty good.
President Harker, thank you so much for your insight. I so appreciate it.